What's something everyone should experience in their lifetime? Go see some stars. Go camping in a national park. Watch the stars. Go see a freaking meteor shower in the desert. The cosmos are ducking rad, man. Financial security. I've never had it, and that simple fact has caused me more stress and anxiety than I care to admit. I do believe that though money can't bring happiness, when you don't have it, it can absolutely hinder it greatly. Having been with it, and having been without it, I not only enjoy the former more but it actually makes me a better person. The stress and low level fear is truly debilitating. Traveling outside their country of birth changed my life for the better for sure, and led to a life of living outside my country for a number of years before returning. Getting a hug from someone who has been waiting all day to see you. The last hug my dad gave me when I was leaving after my visit for his last birthday. He knew it would be the last. It was the best hug I ever got. I miss you, Dad. Watching the ocean at night in the dead of winter on a silent beach. I've never felt more connected to the history of everything than at those times. Everyone should experience doing something significant for someone who cannot possibly benefit them in return, and doing so for no credit, recognition or return. Edited since this got some attention. Ironic. I don't believe one should act and not derive some self-satisfaction. One ought feel good internally about being a good human. You haven't failed if you helped a person or animal and felt satisfied. There are myriad quotations that contain the measure of man and address his idea in some form. Anyway, do something nice because you can. Peace and quiet of nature. Driving out to the wilderness and being able to sit and think deeply without the noises of traffic and city life helps you relax and get away from your busy life. I recommend at least once a month. Plus the views of the night ski is breathtaking. Living alone. Being truly by yourself for long periods of time can teach you invaluable things when becoming an adult. I've been with my fiance now for about 4 years. Living with them for about 2 years. And I tell ya, even though I love him and plan to spend the rest of my life living with him, I do sometimes miss living by myself. I had lived alone for about 5 years before moving in with my now partner. My place, all to myself. Had to learn how to cook, clean, organize my space, budget my money, etc. Adulting shit. There's a certain novelty to living by yourself for an extended period of time that made it easier to move in with someone else, mainly because one of us actually knew what we were doing. LOL. The Northern Lights. They really are beautiful. We saw them in Yellowknife, Canada. It's well situated for the lights, but it still takes a little luck. We had cloud cover all but the very last night, so glad for that last night. Second edit. If you are interested in Yellowknife, we went with Collis from Yellowknife Outdoor Adventures and I can't say enough good things about him. He was wonderful and had a great setup. And he also went way above and beyond with us given that we needed both an emergency room visit. I injured myself before we ever even got to him, and a last minute extra night out on the ice to have one more try at the lights which came through. He was fantastic. Yellowknife also has a great museum with lots of interesting information about First Nation people of the area, a great local bookstore with good books about Yellowknife and Canadian history, and a wonderful local artists workshop. It was a wonderful trip beyond the lights themselves. That's on my vacation list. Fly to Alaska and do one of those trips. Amazingly, the trips to see the lights over a few days are at least 50% cheaper than the flights. Or I could go to Springfield and into Seamuskena's kitchen. Astronomy. Seeing the planets with your own eyes is an experience I will never forget. The astronomy department at the university in my town has an open house every month where people can just go to the observatory and look through the telescopes. It's amazing. The aurora borealis. I've only seen them once. On a flight from America to Europe that went through the Arctic Circle. I woke up to frantic tapping on my shoulder from my coworker I was traveling with and them slack-jawed pointing out the window. It was amazing. Traveling abroad and actually experiencing another culture. I was much further right and patriotic before I started traveling. We don't own happiness. We don't have government perfect either. Gaining perspective is incredibly eye-opening. Getting to know people that aren't like you. Too true. Especially because we get so siloed in social media and various online bubbles. Looking at a clear sky full of stars. Done that on a beach with a clear sky on a starry night and saw 5 shooting stars in 10 minutes. I was fully amazed. Out of curiosity, do you remember what month of the year that was? You might have seen a meteor shower. Some of the best showers can get upwards of 2 a minute. Living by yourself. Living alone makes me extremely happy, peaceful and calm. If I were financially able to swing it 100% of the time, I definitely would. A massage. Not sexual in any way though. A relaxing massage of the back, thighs, legs and feet. It's truly refreshing and you feel new and energized. Unless you happen to be extremely ticklish. Find yourself with a case of the giggles which only makes you so uncomfortable that you giggle more. At which point you find yourself in an endless 15-minute giggling freakout and vow never to show your face in a massage parlor again because you're so embarrassed. Not that I know. Live your life on your own terms. It seems simple, but can be really hard depending on one's circumstances. Came here to say this. The wife and I just took a month off and traveled Europe. We aren't rich. She quit her job. I missed out on some contract work. But who gives a shit? We're all one drunk driver, bad caught, or unlucky break from absolute catastrophe. Either way, we say embrace what life has to offer while we can. Tomorrow isn't promised. Failure, and the maturity to accept and learn from it. The only way you truly fail is if you learn nothing from it. My brother-in-law always tells me he wishes people learn to love and aim toward the process of failing up. Failing over and over until one effort lands and you move up in money, prestige, ability, whatever, and start to learn that the process of failing allowed the last success rather than tying all gains to your last effort alone. Totality during a full solar eclipse. 2024 is coming soon enough. Going to be streaking across the south starting in Texas toward the east coast. Start making your plans now. Drove over 3,000 miles round trip for the 2017 eclipse and got crystal clear blue sky. This next one is in my backyard. Totality is like no other experience. Absolutely stunning. Doing pest control in the city for 6 months. Not to understand the complex life, evolution and behaviors of organism and the environmental stimulations, which is invaluable on its own. But to witness the diversity of the human condition. Never had I been so humbled by people that live like kings and in squalor. Some wealthy are in a bubble. Others are deep in care. The poor you end up seeing live with either what they got, dealt with, or the consequences of their choices, or others. But more than that, you see that life can never be black and white for you ever again. Some people live with a terrible hand. Some are absolutely crazy. Some are doing great despite living in a rough area. You'll learn you can't save everybody, but a small act of kindness can be so impactful. You'll develop thick skin as some will want more out of you that you really can't stretch. Most of all, you'll understand that children are the true victims of this world, and that being some hero isn't always the answer. Sometimes the answer is to just be better or patient to people along your path, because you have no idea what their yesterday or yesterdays were like. Maybe they were evil. Maybe they were a victim. Maybe they are victorious and amazing. You will see and meet so many that it will not doubt change you. Not to mention you'll also be more selective when it comes to restaurants, fast food and or retail labor. If you've never experienced it or anything like it, your eyes are bound to be opened to it by the experience. At least, I would never have understood crap jobs for crap wages. I love a fast food cashier's reaction when something wrong happens to my order and they tell me and you can see they are preparing to get shit for it. I say it's all good. Shit happens, friend. Once someone responded, I see you've worked fast food too. No a-hole here, bro. I'm just not an asshole. Being able to confidently tell yourself that despite whatever shortcomings and failings you have and will endure in life, that you will be able to take it in stride and say you will be alright. That the sun will rise in the morning and you will not lose a single bit of sleep over it. You will wake up, you will rise, and you will be alright. Music. It's such a fascinating way of expressing emotion and moves so many people in so many ways. I feel like it's almost a core aspect that brings everyone together in some way. The stars. Seriously. I know people who've lived in the city all their lives and it never really sank in for them that the night sky out in the countryside is literally full of stars. In the city with all the light pollution you can only see maybe 2 stars a night if that. But a month or so ago a long-time online friend of mine came to visit me in person and said he's never actually seen the stars. It was a clear night, so we got in my car and traveled about 10 minutes out of town and looked up. He was gobsmacked and would just stare up at them as if in a trance. It has that effect on people. To Redditors reading this who've lived all their lives in the city, do this. Head out to the countryside sometime and go out of town in the dead of night when it's clear and cloudless and look up. Buying groceries without counting the cost as you add stuff to the cart and then taking stuff out when you go over budget. Edit true love would be good too. Riding a motorcycle solo down a country road. Wind in your face. Passing from scent to scent. Cool shade to warm air and depending on your own metal to get you home safe. You can tell this means a lot to me. Honestly. Defeat. Losing at something. Being denied first place and losing all the awards etc. that come with first. When I say this I'm not talking in sports, but also in life. Being defeated sucks. But it's what comes after that truly defines people. How will you respond? What lessons did you learn? How will you cope with it? What will you do different next time? Will you bounce back and be better, or will you use all your energy to sulk in shame or blame? Moving across the country, even just for a year, I fall into the category of the pandemic lighting a fire under my ass to do something. I'm 26 now. Moved here 5 months ago. Never left my hometown. Even went to community college in my hometown. With no support network in a 1600-mile radius. It's basically only up to you to survive. It's not super glorious. But man, I've grown more in these few months than at any other time in my 20s. In fact, I've been so poor from renting a whole house that it's forced me to quit drinking and smoking weed. So I'm like more or less always sober. Big ups. But I'm ultimately gonna move back to the home front for sure. I have a great family and I wanna move back for them. Everyone should move away from their hometown for at least a year. It either makes you realize you hated it and love your new location, or lets you appreciate the things back home that you didn't before, or maybe a bit of both. But either way you definitely grow a lot as a person. Backpacking or at least hiking in a far from the city destination. Camping there, preferably hiking each day, or staying at a base camp. Staying up late in the evening and watching the stars. You will see so many of them compared to being near a city. You will realize you are looking out a grimy, dirty, greasy window of reality that blocks the most important and beautiful view you can have. Don't just do it for 10 minutes or half an hour. Make it at least an hour. Wait until you see several shooting stars. When you can see multiple satellites in the sky simultaneously, you have been watching long enough. If you are fortunate, you may also see the northern lights. Next day, hike the woods with a deeper appreciation of our place in the cosmos and the importance of safeguarding our planet and its ecosystems against catastrophic collapse. Realize how insignificant our planet is and how important it is to us and our ability to survive. Cuddling. It means more than sex. Although sex is great, but the feeling of just holding someone, to me there's nothing like it or better, especially if it's someone you genuinely care about or have feelings for. Even if you lose them eventually, you always have the memories of the moments you held another person tight and they held you.